Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at XRP, Bitcoin, some market cap indexes along with liquidations and the Sigma coin. So, all right, we've got our first 5-wave move to the downside having manifested for XRP. Now, and then from that, we've actually can already identify that we've got ourselves an ABC correction to the upside that has already played out as well. So we've got the 5-wave move down, the ABC move up, and now we're just kind of looking to see how this price action will play. A couple things that I could kind of tell already is we got a potential 5-wave move starting here for the next leg of the minor degree. And we can see 1, 2, 3, that's probably the third leg, fourth, and then we'll probably swing through here. So this will be wave 1 of this next larger degree coming into play, or possibly, if we're expanding our view a little bit, this may in fact be just wave 1 and 2 of the larger overall breakdown of the first wave. So we'll be watching for that. So target wise, we've got a couple things. We got a gap right here that takes us down to 297. I could easily see that this gap closure is probably what we'll end up getting at minimum, just that down to 295, right? So we do a quick little ABC here and then we're done. But now there's this gap right here as well. So this gap also is intriguing, and I think we might have a cascading view down to this one. Liquidate everybody. This has 3 confluences going for it right here at the same spot. So we've got the 618 fib down here at the price action of 285. We've got the fair market value VWAP from the low coming through this region that sometimes, will wick through. You can see how it just wicks through that area and gets down into this region if it kind of comes through here. We have this purple line right here. This purple line is -2 deviations from back in the all-time high. So that's right there. And we have this gap that comes down. So all this is in this box here. So this is my this is my view of where we're very likely to find support and bounce out of here if we do that drawdown. Now, jumping over to the liquidation heat map, you can see that on the 48-hour, we have a lot of liquidity down to 295, 294. So if we come back to our XRP chart, 294 would take us down into this first region here, and we would be looking at this. So this is why we're watching to see if that's our first stop on this journey, or if this is possibly a larger A, and then maybe a B back up this direction, and a C leg that could actually come down here. So, and the reason now we're referencing this is that when we go back to our liquidity and we look at the last week, we have a ton of liquidity to the downside that is potentially wanting to be swept for a wave 2. So here you are with 280, and then you also have 275, and there's some heat even down here at 268. So all of this is ultimately what I think we're going to be targeting for. So that would actually lead to the idea that we would actually swing with a larger breakdown that would take us down in this region, kind of like that, down to here to 268, possibly higher to 275. So that would definitely cause a lot of panic, confusion, and concern for XRP all through here. So we'll just kind of watch how that ultimately plays. And with that, though, there is, of course, still mystery Bitcoin, right? Just not breaking down. So we've had barely any kind of pullback here. So this is the wild card, because there's a gap here, there's a gap here, and when we go to the futures market for Bitcoin, we also see that we have a gap, big gap, actual gap down here in the market cap, which would be almost a 90% pullback of the entire range, taking us back down to 110. And the liquidation heat map also confirms that there's a lot of liquidity down here for Bitcoin, giving us the likelihood that Bitcoin could actually see a pullback down into this 108, 9, 10 region as we grab all this liquidity to the downside here over the last week. So that's definitely intriguing and something I'm watching here. And that's where my thoughts are at this moment. There's just kind of like a quick flush, and these levels are for buying and getting ready for the upside move. So finally, we've got the Sigma coin doing pretty well here. We've had a lot of fighting back and forth. So this white line here is ultimately the wedge that we've been working through, and we've reclaimed it again. So we had a wick below the level to the downside, massive volume of a capitulation, tons of volume stepping back in again, a massive move back up again, and what appears to be very little volume, either a malicious bot or possibly the bridge clearing out caused some of the price action to play back down again. And now here we are moving back out and reclaimed with a back test of this trend line, as Sigma coin is now finally completing this spring event and getting our way out of here back into the wedge, and then we need to continue to grind further and out. So yes, that's ultimately what we're watching here, and we're just going to be seeing if we can continue to see price action improve. And I think chop is probably likely, especially if we're going to be seeing XRP pull back down into mid-range and possibly even low range to give us the entries that we're looking for the final moves before the breakout. So, all right, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll check in tomorrow.